Okay, people, February 9th. The inspector is coming within the hour. My landlady phoned. She said, I'm so scared. I said, don't be scared. I said, I've been working for 14 days straight. Right. I think we got it covered. It's okay. Right. It's actually looking pretty nice out here, people. Considering everything all said and done. Oops, sorry. After all these years, just imagine what it's going to be like when things start to bloom. Right? And the flowers start coming up. Alright, I'm going to build a little bridge. I think I'm going to build a little bridge right there. Instead of having it go through over here, because the walkway has to be leveled off. And you need more of a walkway, right? So I think level that part off and then build the bridge right in there somehow. Right? But, yeah. You can see that bush there took nice root. Right? This one will turn more green this year. I still have one more in a planter's pot that's been sitting in there for 9 years. That one right there. It's going to come out. It's going to go into the ground. Those two, those were in a planter pot in 2007, 2008. And we're what, 2016? So 8 years. Those ones I just stuck in the tail end of last year. It was like November or something, October, November, September. You can see they're taking root. That one over there with the one sprig. The one sprig has gotten a little more stronger. Obviously, I have to cut down the bush itself, though, so I'll do that at some point. And you're gonna see pretty soon things are gonna start turning green around here. Flowers are starting to come up. Right? Anyway. Do you see that big poofy orange cat? I'm telling you, cats love my yard for some reason. Just chilling on the fence. Okay, people, so before we go too far on this, I'm explaining to Zook here why this is here. There's a reason for it. Is because I have a problem with morning glory in this yard. Okay, and I've got probably a good 75% of it taken care of. So what it is underneath that wood, I took it all up. I took out the morning glory roots and the buttercup, whatnot, and then I lay a layer of cedar shavings because it's like an antiseptic, and things don't like to grow with it. So it helps to control the root from infesting the yard, right? And then I lay a layer of this crisscross thing so it can breathe. And then I just put a nice layer of that back on just to retain everything. Okay, so that's why that's like that.
So how long is that going to stay there?
Well, that stays there because otherwise it's just going to turn into roots. Like it's just going to spread morning glory throughout the whole yard.
Well, I know, but how long does that effect need to be there to prevent that? I mean,
you can't stop the morning glory roots because there's sand underneath there.
Forever,
They come in from next door. They come in through the neighbors next door because they don't weed, right? And these things get into the ground and they take over your whole yard come spring and summer. So what happens is as the wood deteriorates, I take out the wood that turns into dirt and I put it into the ground where it needs nutrients, right? So outside of that, this here, you see I've taken off a lot, but the one board that's there, I have to get a board that can fit the whole piece, and I don't have that just yet. So that will be removed, right? I've been working on it. Okay? Because I don't like it like that, but the reason I did that is just to keep, one, you don't want people in it digging around or anything like that. You just want to cover it and let it sit for a couple of years and it creates dirt. But I ran out of wood at the time. As you can see, it's just kind of mixed matched in there. So I just threw those on top. So I got rid of half of those already. So that the rest of them will be removed, and then I'm going to take, at some point when I get it, a nice piece of wood to cover the whole thing so it's flat. Right? Now, if you want, I can take a piece of wood and cover that up and make it look flat. In terms of flat.
Like, that's what you need to do then. Do that.
Is that what you would prefer?
It's not seen then, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. I was a few minutes late too. It's stuck. That's some other stuff.
Your mom called.
Yeah, I know. I told her to remind you.
Oh, I didn't forget. I've been out here for 14 days out of 15.
Okay. Let's,
Freezing my butt.
So getting better in the front. See anything in the back?
Well, I've been out here for 14 days. so I cleared up in here. Again, washing rocks, right? Because I need them at some point. They help to control weeds too, Sook, right? Now, we have a problem with drainage with the people
Good. You
next
got rid of
door.
the stuff that was here?
Yeah. It was actually wood. A lot of it was wood from Home Depot, so I washed it. And I found some plywood. I found some really nice 2x4s, and I washed some rocks, and so I'm really happy with that. Actually, you kind of did me a favor. It's done with. It's probably better now to do it when it's not so hot, right? Versus this type of weather. But Sook, I'm going to ask you again. What can I do about this? Because I'm really concerned about. Do you see that drainage? All the water, everything, comes into here, and when it rains, this turns, you can see what it has done to the ground underneath. This turns into a great big pool of water, and I have the same problem in the back because they have no drainage towels on that side. Now, I know you say it's not a city problem because it's private property, but it's a big problem for me, and I'm concerned about the foundation on this side of the house. Because it's just too much water. Just too much water. I don't know what to do about it. Other than take these guys to court. Like, seriously. Hey, look.
Yeah, you may want to call building and see what they say.
Nice and clean.
So where are you going to put them?
When I do the pond. And again, they're good for weed control. Right?
Okay.
I cleaned up in here, washed everything, moved everything around. If you're wondering why I'm keeping this, I need the wire.
Take pictures.
I need the wire, right? And as I'm building throughout the summer and spring, this will all be gone because I don't like it either. It's the tail end of finishing up on weed control, basically. Really. The only way to get rid of weeds is to cover them up, put things over them, whatever it is, right?
Okay.
Okay, so you want to go this way?
Sorry, now I walked.
See? This one here, that turns into a big puddle of water. And then what happens is I get a river and a mud bath. And nothing grows. The grass, I can't get it to grow. So there you go. Are you happy?
Yep.
Am I surprising you, sir?
No.
You didn't think I had it in me, eh?
I know you do. You guys just got to do it. That's
Not you guys. I did it. Give credit where credit is due, please. My children don't help me with this. I have to get out here. Well, Andre is out here all the time with me. He's learning some really good life skills. That's why I like to stay here, right? So I'm going to build a door on that eventually, is to keep raccoons out and rodents and whatnot, right? And then a lot of wood washing. It's all clean. Okay, I don't have to buy wood. I'm really happy with that. Maybe just a few sheets of plywood. Came in here, did this, right? It's all done. Yeah, we can go around the other side if you want. We can go over there. I cleared it off the path for you. This is all done. And again, by the end of this year, right? This wood is gone because I'm tired too, Sook. Like seriously, I just want my life back, kind of thing too, right? See, didn't hear now. What's gonna happen here is because the door got put here, right? I'm gonna cut this off in here, lay new bricks, but I'm gonna take a drainage pipe. You know how I have these pipes in the yard, right? I'm gonna dig this up in here and run a little drainage pipe because what happens is water tends to pool in here, and then because I put drainage pipe in there when I made this box, it all goes good, right? So it's not like I'm not making an effort to do things properly. But if you want to look over here, I was in here too. Okay. So there's this area. I cleaned out all in here. Again, I got raccoon problems. For some reason, animals love this yard. Cats, raccoons, I don't know what it is. But, yeah. I got one bucket of rocks to wash yet.
okay. Back looks good. Just let's finish off the side of the house there. That stuff, I know you said you're going to...
What do you mean in terms of the side of the house? That's building.
pretty much. Yeah, I know.
Well, that's going to take a little longer, though. I can't build that fast. I have no money.
If you tuck it in there, then it doesn't really matter.
Oh, how do, why? Okay, just explain to me.
It's in a storage shed, right?
I don't know. Okay, so I can't move it all. What do you want me to move?
What can you move?
Well,
Excuse me.
All these and wood pieces at the end, they can all
Yeah, you want to know?
at the end, that would be more practical. These I would prefer just to leave here because they don't get wet.
Come over here.
They don't get wet here, right?
So why don't we leave this here?
Okay.
Can you take this stuff here?
Which,
Or you want to leave it all here?
well, I already just washed it and put it there. It's going to dry, and I'm going to go through it pretty
Okay, so let's
fast.
take the stuff at the end.
I'm going to go through it pretty fast once we start.
And then this stuff here. Can
Pardon
you
me?
Put this in the shed.
Yeah, well, I haven't quite finished this, right? Like this, I want the wire and.
No, I get that. So I'm not saying that you need to get rid of it. I'm saying, can you put it in the
The majority of it, not all of it, right? Like this kind of stuff.
Do you have a garbage bin that you're using at the back
For what?
for garbage pickup?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have a garbage bin.
So this is an extra one?
Yeah, that's wood in there.
How did you guys get this?
I don't know. I found it. It was just sitting out in the road. I find things all the time. I think just
Just
like
belong to somebody.
no, it was just out on the road. It sat there for like a week. Nobody wanted it. It was full of garbage. I just put wood in there. I keep just in case of emergency. When hydro goes down.
So, like I said, like it's not that you need to get rid of this stuff.
Okay.
But if you want to put it in that shed there,
Okay.
in that cage.
in terms
fence
of
thing,
what? The majority of it? What do you mean all of it? I don't understand. This too?
no, that can stay. I mean, but this stuff here
Okay.
and say the pipe,
Well, the pipe I'm running up. You can see what I'm doing with the pipes.
you're gonna wire it up. Okay. that's
Yeah,
fine. That's fine.
I just
But so let's move this stuff
Okay.
into that little shed there,
okay.
and these couple of boards here. These. Like,
Well, that's actually his fence.
oh, it is.
Yeah.
Are you able to put this one right here?
Well, no, the fence can be repaired. Just haven't done it yet. Because the kids play sometimes, right?
Oh,
They cut through. But what are we going to do about the water? Like, do I have to take this guy to court? Do I have to take him to court? Because
These are
something
tenants,
needs to
right?
be
It's
done.
not the landlord.
These guys are tenants.
Yeah.
It's not their fault.
Yeah.
He's the one that's being negligent, and
Yeah.
it's putting way too much wear and tear
We have
on the
no
drainage
more
tiles
visitors.
here and the one drainage pipe that I have in the back. It's just way too much, and you can see it's destroying the backyard and making my life miserable. So, please tell me what to do, because if I have to take him to
Honestly,
court,
I'm not really sure because I'm not really a building inspector, but you might want to call building.
they said it's private property. I did.
No, and that's fine, but you can still ask them for advice, right? And saying what's a recommended sort of.
Take him to court. That's my only recourse.
I'm sure somebody can give you some advice there as to
Come on
what
now.
the
Okay, I will try it again.
Yeah.
I did phone. Because it's making it bad out there. I can't. That's the hard part is the mud. It's ridiculous, and I mean, and I'm really concerned about the foundation in here because it's just too much water.
Here go.
Pardon me?
Where do the ones here go?
Well, that's the only one that's broken.
Yeah.
That just needs to be fixed. But
No, I know. But do they go into
Yeah.
the drainage system?
yeah, no, they have. It has its own. Well, it does. It goes into it. There's the pipe there. It does go into its own thing, right? But it's just this one's broken.
Oh, that's fine.
That one needs to be fixed. But my landlord's.
I know a lot of older houses. They different parts of the Lower Mainland.
Uh-huh.
They do or do not go into the city system. Some go out onto the road or onto the.
No, that
property
one goes
itself.
into its own pipe. So you want me to move this part?
Yeah. That's where this and like I said these.
Okay,
these-
just to
this
kind
area
of just to
here.
kind of alleviate something. Not the rocks though, okay?
Yeah, no.
I'm kind of tired of rocks already. Okay, just to alleviate some of the congestion there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, can I take this real quick? Sook speaking.
I feel.
Hi Maria. Can I give you a call in about 10 minutes? Can I give you a call back in about 10 minutes? Hi.
Ah.
Hi Maria.
What?
Hi Maria. Can you hear me now? Can I give you a call back in about 10 minutes? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
kicked the Bluetooth on for some reason.
Okay. So yeah, a couple things. Let's put that stuff in there, and then let's get finished off with the rocks, whatever you got here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a big one.
And
I do
the,
have some paperwork
little
with my
plastic
nonprofit,
buckets.
though. I have to do some work on that for a little while. So can you give me more than 2 weeks?
What do you need? 3?
How about a month? I'm really tired.
4 weeks?
Yeah, I'm really
Okay,
tired.
4
Sue.
weeks.
4 weeks, okay.
So-
That gives me a couple weeks just to kind of do some home stuff inside and, get back on my
Let me
paperwork.
check my calendar on my truck there.
Yeah,
I'll give you guys a date and then.
because I have to really sometimes psych myself up for this, especially this kind of stuff. But once it's in the ground, it's so nice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let's get it done and get it over with.
Today's the 9th.
Uh huh.
So
Let me just check my schedule. What days I'm working.
Mickey's always outside with us.
Yeah.
Eh? Mickey the
I-
gardener cat.
how
Yeah.
many do you have? 2 more?
I had.
Can we get rid of these tires too?
Yeah, okay.
Move them or make them into plants?
Yeah, I will. I was using them as a bumper thing for my car, but my car's parked right now, so I had 5, and then a stray came to the house, and so then I had 6, and then gave one away, so I still have 5.
Smokes, that's a big cat, man.
Yeah, that's Mickey the gardener cat.
Uh,
Yeah, I was using that as a bumper for my car when I'd roll up with my car or something, but I'll put them around somewhere else in the yard. Work on this little, get this, he doesn't like color, right? Anything with color. Unless it's just a neutral kind of a color, that's what I notice, right? Mm. 5?
Wow.
I had 6, but then I've got a new stray, right? The strays come to the house and they adopt us, right? That's what happens. So,
no,
Yeah.
you can't get bird.
right?
I get bird.
Yeah.
I can get
Aubrey in preschool or?
No, he's doing homeschooling right now
Oh, okay.
for a little while. Just he still needs to be connecting with the situation at hand, right? Be a little bit of a free range child,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
important at this age. He really loves the yard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be doing some. He's 5.
Oh, okay.
I might be doing some part-time childcare pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe
want the baby
for a little
baby
8-year-old
egg.
girl.
Oh, yeah.
So then, if that happens, I'll be taking her to school and picking her up, and
Oh, okay.
and then maybe that might be a good time to
Yeah.
start integrating him, right?
True.
So
How about the basement?
How about, March 10th?
it's fine.
So that's a
Everything's
month
fine
from
down there.
now.
What's
work?
that?
March 10th.
Thursday?
March 10th?
sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
So 10:30 again.
Sure.
That work
Yeah.
for you guys?
Yeah. Okay. Okay then.
All right.
That gives me a bit of time, and
Maybe turn these tires into planters or whatever.
yeah, I will. At one point, like I said, I was just using them as a bumper, and I'll put them somewhere. There's a few spots I still have to kind of
Okay. We'll do that.
deck up,
and then-
right? Oh, and I did this just for you, even though you told me not to worry about it.
What?
Oh.
Aw.
No, it's getting
Can't you
better,
tell?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I can tell.
Can't you tell?
Okay.
You see, he says, that's your problem. You like to do those things and not what I tell you to do. But you have to admit, that's pretty nice, right? That's pretty nice. That's where little
guys.
pond's going to go one
All right,
day and the
thanks a
bigger
lot.
pond. Okay. All right. Tell your mom not
right.
to worry. Okay, we're not going to worry, right? No worry today. All right, people. No worries today. Okay, people. This whip is going to the rodeo. I have a vest to make as an appreciation for a fellow named Tom up in the Oregon mountains for speaking out about some of the things that are going on in our nations, United States of America, Canada, and some of the issues that people from all walks of life are having to cope with. And obviously, some of us can cope better than others, right? For whatever reason. Personally, I believe in old souls and I believe in young souls. I think the ones that have stronger coping skills are more old souls in terms of, I don't necessarily believe in reincarnation in terms of coming back to the planet after you've passed and you come back again and back and forth. But just the fact that, inside of us there's a soul of something keeps us alive, right? It's not just the body, right? Something makes us think, something gives us spirit to try and accomplish things and build things, and I think just people that with stronger coping skills maybe might just be older souls, because they've had the opportunity to exercise. It's like practicing something until you get good at it, right? Because some of the things that we go through in life, you really have to develop coping skills along the way in order to get through to the bitter end. And then just some of the things I do, people, like, in terms of gardening and, laying down those cement slabs and washing rocks and, and just, it seems so trivialist in so many ways and so pointless in so many ways, but at the end of the day, when it all starts to come together, you can see what it creates, right? For, a minimal amount of dollars and, and X amount of energy and just that type of thing. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sitting in Uncle John's chair, and he'd be like, see, I told you, don't worry. Right? So, I have a month grace, right? I mean, obviously this guy, right? He when I say my kids don't help me, I don't mean to say my kids don't help me, because obviously my younger son helps me quite a bit out there. He just doesn't help me regularly, and he doesn't help me with the lightweight stuff, right? He helps me more with the heavyweight and the lifting and, and that kind of stuff. And, he climbed up on top of the roof to fix all that. Now, I spoke to my landlord, and he said that come summertime, we're going to work on fixing up the leaks in the garage and that type of thing. So I'm not too worried about that. I trust that that's what he's going to do, because I know that since living in this house, it's been financial. It has been a financial burden on the landlords in terms of the cost of living going up, taxes going up, products in terms of buying things that you need to repair stuff is going up. Like, they did the water tank when the water tank blew. They did the roof when the roof was time to do the roof. I mean, the pipe, I think it was the pipe that really just put a boomerang and kind of just threw everybody off for a loop, because nobody expected the pipe in the front to get broken. And that was an added burden of like $6,000. And the thing about my landlords is that they're elderly, right? And I think my landlady was a teacher of some sorts at one point, and my landlord, he was a taxi driver. That's what he was. That's how he made his money. And obviously he's retired, right? But as a taxi driver, you don't, make a lot of money per se, right? So by the time I moved in, they had already retired and were on fixed pensions. And yes, they owned the houses, but they didn't have the ability to get, credit. And this is what my landlord explained to me, right? It's not like he was working, because he had already been retired, and his pension was limited as, because he wasn't working for the government, so he wasn't getting government pensions and superannuation pensions and all this other stuff. He was just getting his old age pension and, maybe some small pension plan that he put into as he was working as a taxi driver. So, they did the best that they could under the circumstances, with the cost of living and the recession and the depression and everything else, right, in terms of, basic house repairs, right? Electrical, we went through the electrical in terms of the outlets, and we figured out that live wire that wasn't grounded properly in the breaker box. It's been determined that the breaker box is good. The only thing that it might need is one of those little things changed if it keeps flipping. But since the last time the electrician came in and went through the circuit breaker and everything, he fixed that one little hot spot, and I haven't had problems since. So I'm happy with that. Inside piping, copper pipes, all that other stuff, I'm happy with that, right? The only pipe that's the problem is outside over there, and that's only because it's getting too much water saturation, right? And, you know, I mean, the house has been here for like 50, 60 years, so, you know, I mean, he's aware of it, right? You know, but it's not an emergency yet, right? So, I mean, obviously, I'm struggling financially. I don't have any money for the hydro and the gas and all this other stuff because, again, I'm losing my family allowance. So I'm kind of freaking out, but I'm trying to take, you know, Uncle John's advice and not worry about it at this point. If my son is actually dropping out of school, which I don't think he should, but, you know, he's a man, he's 24, he'll make his own decisions, right? Then obviously I'm going to ask him to help cover these bills, you know, in terms of gas and hydro and that type of thing, for a while anyway, until I can get my act together. But I'm not well, people. I'm really not. Even my son says, Mom, I know you're not well. I know you can't go out and work, and, you know, it's kind of impractical. You're just going to, you know, you won't make it, right? Because I won't make it, people. Here it's different. You know, I don't have to get dressed up and put on makeup and, you know, and go take a bus or worry about gas to get to a location, or and that's the thing. Uncle John and I, we used to talk about this stuff, and that was another reason why I invested so much time into this yard, because we knew that he wasn't going to live forever, and he wanted to make sure that I was able to look after myself after he was gone. So he encouraged me to go out there and work and build in some sort of a backup plan in terms of, well, gee, Judy, if I die, you know, you have the opportunity to maybe do daycare and you cannot lose the house, keep the family together, keep the kids together, right? So that motivated me to go out there and do even more. Because ever since Uncle John lived with me, he was so fragile. He could have died at any moment, people. You have to remember, when he came to me, he was already gimped up with his back and gimped up with his legs. He was so depressed, right? Because his extended family were just using him and abusing him and ignoring him. And he really felt he had no one to talk to. When I used to walk with him, I'd walk beside him, whereas everybody else would just leave him in the dust and walk ahead of him. The only time they called him up is when they wanted money from him, or they wanted him to drive. In those days, he was driving when I first met him. They wanted him to drive them here. They wanted him to drive them there. They wanted him to give them his car so that they could take his car and go and drive somewhere else. Always bugging him for money. Told him to divorce his wife. So when he got to me, he was like taking all these pills, falling down because he was taking all these pills. I told him, I said, John, if you want to be around me, you got to stop taking these pills. I can't have you falling down, you know, leaving pills on the floor because you're dropping them out of your pocket. So he stopped taking the pills. But he was still frail because of his legs and stuff, especially after he got hit by a car. Because he had leg problems before he got hit by the car. And when he got hit by the car, it even got worse. So he could have went at any moment, people, in all the years that he lived with me. But Uncle John was a trooper. He navigated through everything. He held down the fort. That's what he did. And when we landed into this house, he got 4 years with his wife. Right? Well, he said, Judy, you just hang in there. We'll stick together. I know it's a tough yard, but you know what? I believe in you. And then getting into the 4th and 5th year, of course, he's frailer now, right? Because Joan did whatever Joan did. And we were saying, well, I'm like, gee, John, you know, you're getting really old here. What am I going to do? He said, you just keep doing what you're doing, because that's the backup plan, people. That's the backup plan. And I'm glad I did it. Because there's still a backup plan. Even though I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. all I can do is hope that my middle son will help me financially at this point, because my middle daughter, maybe not so much, because she's already helped me a bit, and you know, she's trying to get her own life in order. And you have to remember, my kids are emotionally they're like, they've been emotionally torn apart. We don't talk about it very much because we bury the pain and we bury the hurt, right? And they're angry because they can't understand what happened to Uncle John, why it happened that way. Because it was unnecessary, people. Because if those people were so concerned about Uncle John, they had 23 years to do something about it before they turned around and they took him. When Joan died, we phoned them up because I had to go 2 days later and grab all her stuff. And you have to remember, I took all her stuff there. When she went finally into the care ward, I'm the one that packed up her room, cleaned up her room, and then ended up taking half of what was in her room to her in that extended care ward. And it sat there for a year because she wanted it. And then when she died, I had the facility call me up and say, come get it right now. It was like not even a second day. And Uncle John held Auntie Joan's hand the night she died. We left at 1 o'clock in the morning, and she died at 4 o'clock in the morning. And you know what those people told John when we called him up within that week? Because she died on December 14th of 2013. And after I went and got all her stuff and brought it home, and it was all in here, everywhere. He couldn't fucking move. We phoned him up and we asked him to come. Somebody over there, please come and take what you want, because she had pictures from ever. Like, she had like just tons and tons of photo albums and boxes of pictures and marriage certificates and birth certificates. Well, I don't know about birth certificates, but passports and, yeah, some old ancient birth certificate from fucking Britain, right? To verify that that was Joan. I still have that all in a box. And I packed up all the other stuff that I thought that Debbie would want in memory of her mother. And you know what those people said? Throw it all out. They told John on the phone to throw everything out. They didn't want nothing. John was devastated. But I still packed up like 4 or 5 boxes and gave the rest away. It took me like over a month to do it. And I put those boxes in the garage. And they sat there for years, and just some of them molded up to the point where I just took them eventually outside. And I put them out in the street and let the people take the Big Mary. A Big Mary, this thing was like 3 feet tall. Big Mary, like a Catholic Mary, right? It was huge. It was like 3 feet tall, maybe more than that. And Pope John Paul this and Pope John Paul that, and all these books. And, you know, Joan had a lot of religious books. I took them to I donated a whole bunch to the care ward where she was at, like 2 boxfuls of reading material. And I donated some to the thrift store, and I took a big box of all Joan's trinkets, in terms of all the Catholic trinkets, like the rosemaries and like the beads with the cross and all that. I took it out to the homeless shelter people, and I gave it to the homeless people, and the people thanked me for that. Well, they told John to throw everything out. And we couldn't take him to Victoria because it was freezing out there for the funeral for December 22nd, right? Because snow all over on the road. We were broke. We had no money. Because you have to remember, people, I'm paying bills, right? We came in with a debt load. Joan moved in. My debt load stayed there. And then when we moved into this house, I had to start buying tools and nails and tarps, and I had to furnish a second kitchen for Joan. I had to shop for 2 kitchens because Joan couldn't do it all. I had a humongous weed problem when spring came, and I didn't know what to do, so I started building around to cover up the weeds. I had to get rid of them. And John lived his life, and he was happy. Even though it was a lot of turmoil because Joan was unhappy, John was happy. He had his family. And even Auntie Joan had happy moments in there. Because you know what? Through my kids, Auntie Joan became Auntie Joan. Prior to my kids, she was just Joan. She got to hold Andre when Andre was a baby. Shimei loved Auntie Joan. Tisha was fond of Auntie Joan. Brooks favored Auntie Joan, used to call her Joni all the time. So I did what I was supposed to do in terms of helping Uncle John so that he had a wholesome life. And John did what he was supposed to do. He had my back, and he encouraged me to keep trying with 1, the nonprofit, 2, the yard, 3, try and keep the kids together, right, in terms of parenting, encourage them to go to school, make the right choices, that type of thing. But we couldn't afford to send him to Victoria in the freaking snow with all Joan's stuff in the fucking kitchen. And it's not like those people in Victoria came over and picked up Uncle John and even 2 boxes of Auntie Joan's personal belongings to show John that they loved John and that they loved Auntie Joan. They didn't. They told John to throw the stuff out. So John didn't want to go to Victoria. He wanted to stay here and go through the stuff with me. And that's what we did. We went through the pictures. I showed him the pictures. I'd show him, I'd go open her boxes. And, well, what should we do with this, John? What do you think? You know, I'd pack up some to give away. I packed up some to put downstairs. After 4 years of sitting downstairs, or 3 years or whatever it was in the garage, eventually, like I said, I just took a couple of those boxes that had all that religious stuff in there and a few other things and put them out on my front road there, and people took what they wanted, and Mary was taken. And now I'm reduced down to 1 box of family pictures and passports and that kind of stuff. As these people continue to lurk and stalk my YouTube channel with their little fucking threats, right? To try and distract away from the family life that John had with us for years and 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 years. So, in part, working in this yard was the backup plan because Uncle John and I always knew that he would die and that I would have to survive on my own without him. So, you know, this yard has been multi-purpose on many, many levels. And it's the last year. You heard me saying that to Sook. I'm tired too. I just want to get on with my life. So this is the last year of building in the mainstay in terms of the structures to control the weeds and to bring in more quality life, right? And quite possibly part-time employment for me, where I can be a productive member in society, you know, and contributing back in that way, right? I mean, I'm not out of the woods yet. Like I said, I have to beg my son to, if he's not working, if he's not going to school, I have to beg my son to help me with the bills for a while until I can get out of this situation I'm in. Because I can't afford to have the hydro cut off. Because if the hydro gets cut off, then all the food that's in the freezer will rot. Visa, I can't afford to have the Visa go into behind, because what they'll do is they'll freeze my account and they'll take my little $1,000 welfare check to cover my payments, because we already went through that with John's account, where the bank hijacked John's account because I got behind on the payments because we were too busy trying to get Andre back. And I was investing money into paperwork to get Andre back. Or just coping with, having to live in a house. Anytime you move into a house, people, there are expenses. Because you need materials, tools, and stuff like that. As I was paying off the other credit cards. And then we got down to the last 3 major ones. If Uncle John would have been here this year, I can tell you right now, his visa would have been down by half. My visa would have been down by at least a third, if not maybe half. Royal probably would have been gone. And everybody's teeth in the house would have been fixed. Tisha's wisdom teeth would have been pulled. This in here, I would have been able to go see a specialist and tackle that problem. Uncle John was going to get his teeth done. He wanted to wait until we all went together at the same time. But none of that happened. None of that happened. Because it's like he died. And that's why I say he's rolling around in an open casket. Whether you like to hear that or not, that's exactly where he's at. He's in an open casket, rolling around, and doesn't know how to get out. So anyway, I got 1 month's grace. That's plenty of time to do a few touch-ups here and there. And now that I feel like I got a bit of breathing room, before I start moving that wood and just putting it over there, it might be better to, over the next week, try and plan to build something with it so that when it gets moved, like when the guys come and they take the wood, what they need, and they're building away, right? Because I didn't do all that out there. Lots of guys worked out there over the years, right? When I say I'm out there, I'm the only one. I'm talking about moving rocks and weeding and, that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about building and the things that my son does, right? But before I start moving all those pieces of wood that need to be moved, why do it twice, right? Don't waste the energy. It's probably better just to sit and think about it for about a week so I can, get my bearing and build something. Whether it's Andre's shed in the back, whether it's the hay box, whether it's working on the cat house, which I may take the chicken coop area out, like the hen house, because, as much as I want to get Mr. Lace back and everything else, even if I was to get Mr. Lace back, to be honest with you, I don't want 3 chickens. I only want 2. I only want Mr. Lace back and Ladybird. Well, Andre wants Ladybird Pearl and Ladybird Speckle. I find with 2 hens, they're a little naughty. 1 hen will stick close to the rooster, and the rooster likes to stay in the yard. So if I was to ever get Mr. Lace back, I'd probably just want the 1 hen and keep them as therapy birds, And Mr. Lace is quite happy with Mr. Lace's pen. So it might be more practical to take the hen house area and turn that into a cat house because it's bigger. It's much bigger, right? Versus this little thing over here. Andre's shed, well, that kind of requires a man that knows what they're doing. So I'm going to go talk to Jerry. And maybe Jerry can work with me on that one. I don't know if I have to find out how much he wants first to build it for me. And I don't know. I don't really have the money to give it. I don't even have $100 to give him to start. I'm so broke, people. And I still have to do nonprofit book work. So that's going to take some time yet, right? Like, I'm going to take a week off and just pitter now. I'm just going to get caught up with laundry, and I'm going to get back to doing the stuff in the garage that I was doing before this guy showed up. Because if this guy wouldn't have showed up, I would have had half the garage already gutted out. Because like I said, we're going to be working on that pretty soon. So I have to gut it. All right. I got my daughter's clothes in there, and I don't know, some of it's just going to have to be given away. I have teddy bears in bags that the homeless people have come and poked holes in. So teddy bears are sticking out of bags. And so I'm going to, go through them and maybe go see the kids that Chuck Bailey and just give him a bag of teddy bears and everybody can go home with a bag of teddy bears, right? You know, just little things like that, right? But yeah, I'll go talk to Jerry. I'll go talk to Jerry and see what Jerry has to say. Because it just, you know, I don't want to do things twice around here, right? I just kind of want to get on with it. So I think maybe getting up into Andre's play area and building up that little shed area so I can wash up those toys that are over there and put them away, and then build in the arbor at the same time, that will alleviate some of the wood that's sitting there. It will get things moving, you know. I don't want to take it and put it over there and then have to pull it out. And I'd rather just take it, build it, and it's done. So I guess that's the goal over the next month. Is go talk to Jerry, see if Jerry can, you know, take it in payments, maybe even like $30 a month or something. And I don't know, like that's how dire it is right now, people. Like, I'm so scared with my hydro. Like, hydro is so picky. So I don't know, like, if my son, I don't know if my son is finishing what classes he's got in university and then dropping out of university. I don't know if he's already dropped out of university and if he's working. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can't go work. It's impossible. Like, I work out okay, you seen me do what I did, but after I came in, people, I pretty much crashed. Okay? I think I did dishes just maybe 5 times in the 14 days. But there hasn't been a lot of dish pile up, right? But besides the point, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't, like, no book work, nothing, right? Nothing got done. So, it's one thing putting on old dirty clothes and going out and working in the yard for 2 to 6 hours, 3 hours, whatever, you know, and then coming in and crashing. It's another thing having to go out there and, you know, and I just can't do it. I can try and finish this and go with the backup plan and maybe do that part-time childcare, right? That's the plan Uncle John and I had in the event of something happened to him. It's just we weren't ready yet. Our plan was disrupted by his immediate family that had other plans for him. Because I'll tell you something, people. You know, if he would have came, see, Uncle John deserved to come home at least once. For the amount of time that Joan went in and out of the hospital, from the moment she moved into my house from Victoria, it had to have been 20 times in a 3-year period. If the hospital can release Joan 20 times and send her home with more medical devices in terms of oxygen tanks and feeding tubes and scooters and, you know, and all this other crap that she was coming home with, Uncle John should have had the right to come home at least once and tried it at home once before he was placed into a more suitable situation to adapt to his changing needs. But that never happened. Okay? What he did is he got whisked off to some country setting, completely isolated from everything and everybody, except for the ones that took over his life, and disappeared into the abyss. Well, we were left scrambling, and we're still scrambling. But if he would have came home, and it was apparent within a month or two, like we said when we sat at that meeting 3 days before he disappeared, I was already talking to Uncle John about the possibility of maybe having to either, one, move from the house, us as a family, to accommodate his changing needs in terms of needing a wheelchair with, you know, proper wheelchair accessibility, you know, wider halls, that kind of thing, right? So that I could look after him if it came to that. Or going into some sort of a care facility of some sort where we would visit him regularly. because we ourselves were incapable of looking after him. But you have to remember, people, he held down the fort for 2 weeks. In other words, he was walking, he was making his own coffee, he was navigating, answering the phone, he was watching Andre, he was keeping a charge on the kids, keeping them in check and in order, right? As the flu went through the house and knocked me out for a whole week while I slept on the couch because I was so sick. And then by the second week, I was like an intermittent. I'd get a little bit of energy and then I'd crash again. Uncle John was walking, talking, doing everything that a normal person does. My landlord was talking to him. That Uncle John went into the hospital January 13th. Uncle John sitting in the chair. My landlord came in here, was talking to Uncle John for 45 freaking minutes because they like to talk to each other. January 1st, when it came time to rent. Because every month my landlord comes into the house and they chat with me. And in the summertime, my landlady likes to go in the yard and fool around with the flowers and the vegetables. She really enjoys it. So for them to say that he couldn't come home, even though he held down the fort for 2 weeks before he got into the hospital, is preposterous. It's ridiculous. It's a lie. It's a total flat-out freaking lie. If he could do all those things before he went into the hospital, why couldn't he do it when he was there? Why couldn't he get up and even put on his own sweater? I asked him. I took him to the bathroom. I helped him to go to the bathroom because he needed to go to the bathroom. Pulling down his fucking diaper. I said, John, why are you in a diaper? I don't know. He says, they put everybody in a diaper here. It makes it easy for them. That's what he told me. I said, John, why can't you hold up your body? What is wrong with you? He said, I don't know what is wrong with me. I don't know what is wrong with me. I can tell you what was wrong with him, people. They were doping him up behind his back. And they made him sit for too long in a fucking diaper instead of giving him the physiotherapy right there in that temporary care ward when he needed it the most. And the end game was to medically kidnap him so some corrupt family could exploit his assets and set the precedence for the next victim to come through the door. Because if it happened to Uncle John, you can guarantee it's happening to other people. So anyway, I got a month's grace to pit her for at least a week. Go talk to Jerry. Let's see if we can start working on that shed in the back, because that will alleviate what's on the side of the house there. And I'll talk to my son. He won't be happy with it. If he's in school, I don't know how he can work and help me. I'm not ready to go out and sell stripper costumes at this point. I don't have a car to get there. I don't even really have time to go into the sewing room and sew. And I still have to take care of business at home, which, I take care of nonprofit books. I want to make a vest for Tom in Oregon. So, that's my little pet project right now. Making a vest for a man in Oregon.